Hey, what's going on? This is Nick back with the Life Recreated channel. Listen, if you're a man and you feel stuck, this is a video for you. You're about to get unstuck as we look at today's topic. Listen, one of the overarching responses and answers that I've seen for the question of what are men facing and struggling with today, one of the overarching responses we're seeing is a lot of men feeling like they don't have a purpose or struggling with living with purpose, or this feeling of feeling stuck in life, trying to figure out how to get unstuck. You know, when you think about the pandemic, that's something that a lot of us have faced and kind of went through, is just this stuck feeling and just trying to figure out how to move forward. And so I've been dealing with that issue in my own life for the last 5 years, really trying to figure out and nail down, okay, what is my purpose in life? And this is a framework that I've come up with, very super simple, but I feel like it has the opportunity to help a lot of men because it really helped me to really get clear on how to live my purpose. If you're here for the first time, my name is Nick. For the last 2 decades or so, I've been in leadership positions within the military, pastoring for nearly a decade, and I've had the opportunity to serve, help men who are looking to just find their place and just really find their purpose in life. And so on this channel, we're all about being passionate about helping modern men that feel like they're stuck or they're frustrated, help them to find a simple path to living their purpose, to living their power, and also to living their God-given position. So if you're here for the first time, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, man, if that's something that you need. So let's jump into it. I'm also going to, before I get into it, I'm going to link down below a guide that I put together with this. Real simple. You can kind of fill it out on your own and go through this, right? So pillars of purpose. Like I said, a lot of us, we're struggling. We're dealing with this issue of how do I feel like, and how do I get to a point where I'm a man that feels like I'm living with purpose? Why is this so important? Think about this. You know, when we look at life, when we look at all those that are around us that are successful, people that we see that are accomplishing things in their lives, you know, one of the things that we see is this issue of that person, that individual being a person of purpose, right? They're living with purpose. You know, there's quotes all over the place. John D. Rockefeller said this, that, you know, a man needs to have a purpose in life and go for it and aim for it, right? So I put this framework together, this simple framework together to help you if you're a man, because it helped me out tremendously to get really clear on how do I feel like and how do I get to a point where I'm a man that feels like I'm living with purpose, right? So the whole goal of this framework is we're going to talk about the pillars of purpose on this video today. And so here's the key. The thing that we want to aim for as men is we want to aim for this area right here, which is what I call the sweet spot of life. I feel like as a man, if you're able to live and operate within this simple area of life, you'll feel like you have purpose. Things will start aligning. Things will start being a lot easier to accomplish. Things will start being a lot easier to do. And it's the sweet spot that we're actually going to be looking for. So in order for us to get to that sweet spot, we have 3 different pillars, 3 different circles that we have to address, and then we have to get really clear on as a man in order to gain that sweet spot and live in that sweet spot of purpose. So let's look at the first circle. The first circle that we have to figure out is clarity, right? We need to get clear on a couple things within our lives, because here's the thing. When we don't have any kind of clarity, when we don't have any kind of direction or any kind of clear purpose or clear aim for our lives, it makes things a lot complicated, right? It makes things a lot more complicated than they really need to be. One of the issues that we oftentimes as men face is, you know, just not really having a clear vision or a clear understanding of who we want to be. So our first step in our pillars of purpose and to live in a life with purpose is to gain some clarity. Clarity is our first goal. Before we do anything else, we need to get clear on a couple things. So looking at clarity, there's 2 things that we really want to get clear on, right, within our lives. There's 2 things that we really need to get a good understanding of, that we really need to get a good grasp of within our life, if you will. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to assess, number 1, where am I as a man in life? Where am I as a man in life? Why? Think about it this way. If you were to get into your car, put in directions into your GPS without a starting location, you're never going to know how to get to where you're going to go because the GPS doesn't know where you're starting from, right? Obviously it does because of technology, but you get what I'm saying. If I don't know where I am in life at this point as a man, it's hard for me to be able to get a clear picture of how I want to move forward, right? So what is this going to take in our life? Number one, it's going to take some assessment, right? We're going to have to start assessing some things in life, right? We're going to have to start seeing, okay, where am I at? How am I doing in life, right? Am I where I want to be at in life, at my current age, at my current status? Am I living kind of the life that I want to be living? You know, if we're in a position where we're trying to find purpose, probably more than likely we're not really living where we want to be living. So we need to find out where we start at. So the first thing is key right here is, where am I as a man? So that's the question you ask yourself. Where am I as a man? It may also take you asking people around you, people that you trust, people that you know are going to give you honest feedback, maybe your spouse, maybe your partner, or something like that, to give you an understanding of where you are at as a man. This is going to be key because what this is going to do is it's going to determine the starting point. The starting point of where we're going to go is right here as a man when it comes to purpose. And this is where we're trying to get. So we have to start here. We got to know, where am I at as a man? The second thing we have to get really super very clear on is not only where am I as a man, but who now do I want to be? Who do I want to become as a man? Who do I want to become as a man? Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite authors, he said this: don't be a wandering generality, learn how to be a meaningful specific. Meaning, learn how to decide and get clear on who you really want to be. Who you really want to be. How do I want to show up in the world? How do I want people to view me? How do I want people to think about me when they see me or they interact with me or they communicate with me? How do I want people on my job to see me or view me? How do I want my job to be like? What careers do I want to pursue? What things do I want to be studying? How do I want to have a social life? What do I want my social life to look like? What do I want my friends to be like? What do I want those close to me to be like? There's all these different questions, and that list can go on and on. But here's the thing, and this is what we know. If we know where we're starting at, but we never decide who we want to be, how are we ever going to get there? How are we ever going to know where, once we arrive, when we actually get there, if we never decide who we want to be? This is also something we know, and this is why we know that there's a lot of men that don't sit down and think about who they want to be. So if you look at just goals as a statistic to kind of look at, when you think about it, there's stats out there that say probably 80% of people in the world don't sit down and actually set goals, right? They don't sit down and actually decide what they want to be created in their lives. So if we're just looking at 80%, that means 8 out of 10 guys that are walking around have no idea exactly who they want to be in life. They've never sat down and determined what they want. And so these two questions right here are key in us getting this starting point of clarity. Until we get clear on where I'm at and where I want to go and who I want to be, we can't even move anywhere else, right? We can't even move any further because it's not going to make any sense for you to move any further when it comes to living in purpose and living in that sweet spot. So that's my question to you as you sit down. Where are you at as a man? And then who do you want to be? How do you want the world to see you? Okay. So let's move on. So that's the first step, clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity is key. Without glasses, without seeing, having a clear vision, it's going to be hard to figure out where you want to go. All right, number 2. So second circle. The second circle that we're dealing with right here is accountability. Accountability. Okay, so like I mentioned before, being in the military, one of the things that you are almost forced into having to fall into the system of is accountability. And so when you first join the military, I know when I first joined the military, I could not stand this issue of accountability because it meant, like the definition or like the word spells out, is that I had to be accountable to someone else for my abilities and the things that I was doing, right? So accountability. One of the things lacking in our generation now is accountability. On my phone, I have Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes, what this does is it screens, it monitors my phone. If I'm looking at pornography, if I'm looking at things that I'm not supposed to be looking at, it's going to send an email to my wife. It's going to send an email to my friends. It's going to send an email to people that I know that I'm close to. That's going to keep me accountable and say, hey, Nick is doing something that he shouldn't be doing. What does that do for me? What it does for me and accountability does for me is it keeps in the back of my mind knowing that I have a responsibility. I have a purpose, or I have basically I'm accountable to somebody else, right? I have to give an account. That's what I'm trying to say. I have to give an account to someone else for my activities, right? So in order for me to go to this second spot, to be in this sweet spot, I need to have accountability. And so when we look at accountability, there's something that I look at called the accountability triangle. There's accountability triangle. And in this accountability triangle we're going to get into, there's really three sets of people that need to be in our accountability triangle if we want to be a man that lives with purpose, right? Number one, the first one is the top of the triangle there, is a mentor, right? It's a mentor. It's someone that is living a life or is doing something or has already done something that I myself personally want to attain to or move towards, as far as goals, as far as character, as far as whatever it may be in my life. It's somebody above me that has done it already or that is currently doing it that I can look up to and I can now learn from. So this person, this mentor, is somebody above me, right? This is somebody above me, right? So this is key right here. Finding a mentor, finding a mentor. Like I said, in the military, this is kind of built in. When I'm a junior sailor, when I was a junior sailor, I had chiefs that I had to answer to. I had division officers that I had to answer to. I had combat system officers, commanding officers that I had to answer to. When I moved up in rank and I became, you know, like a combat system officer of the watch, I have to answer to the executive officer. I have to answer to the commanding officer. And so these are people that I have to look up to, and these are people at the same time that I was trying to aspire to be like. So finding a mentor, finding somebody above me in life is going to help to stretch me and help me to really achieve and to live a life that I would desire to live based on the character and the things that I'm seeing them do, right? So the second step is my peers. My peers, I need accountability from my peers. I need accountability from those that are bumping shoulders with me, those that are next to me, right? These are the people that are beside me. These are the people that are beside me when it comes to accountability. You know, the Bible tells us in Proverbs that iron sharpens iron, right? So a friend sharpens another friend. So somebody beside you, another man beside you, another brother beside you that is pursuing maybe the same things that you're doing, that is looking for purpose within their life. We need those accountability. I have a handful of friends. You know, this past week, I went to a retirement ceremony for a good friend of mine. He is one of my peers. He's somebody beside me. He's somebody that I talk to on a regular basis, that I'm checking in with mentally, that I'm checking in with in careers and seeing the things that we're accomplishing. This is somebody that he's going to be beside me, just kind of rubbing me and kind of, you know, just checking me and helping me and kind of pushing me along, and vice versa. I'm doing the same thing for him. So finding somebody beside you. And then the last one is you got to find some mentees, right? So this is somebody that's beneath you. Somebody that's beneath you. Life doesn't do any good for me to learn all these skills, for me to learn how to do all these things, for me to learn all these talents and have all these talents, if I'm not willing to reach down to somebody that may be trying to get to my level and try and help them up, right? Younger men that I see that are coming up and that, are in their 20s or in their 30s. And I remember, hey, what it was like going through those times, going through those stages. My responsibility now, which is helping me to live in purpose, is to now reach down and help those brothers up, help those other individuals up to get to the peer level, right? To get to the peer level, to be those men that are beside me, right? This is what I'm looking for is I'm reaching down so I can help to pull somebody up. So accountability here is the second pillar of this, right? We need somebody above us, we need somebody beside us, and we need somebody beneath us. We need a mentor, we need peers, and we need mentees in order to help us to have a complete picture and a complete accountability system within our lives, right? So let's move on. The last pillar, this one to me, I feel like is probably the most important. It's probably the most important, but oftentimes I feel like it's probably the most overlooked, right? So clarity can be easy to find, right? We can figure out, okay, where am I at and who do I want to be? I can learn how to set those goals and do those things. Accountability can kind of be easy, right? I can find a mentor. I got friends that, we can keep each other accountable and kind of keep each other in check, and I can find mentees. This last one, I think, is sometimes the hardest for us to be able to really nail down, but it's really the last key and the last piece of this puzzle of living with purpose, and that's responsibility. Responsibility. What do I mean by responsibility? Think about it like this. When men come into this world, they have to seek and find something that they can do and that they can put their hands to and that they can add value to in this world. They have to seek and find it. Not saying that it's separate from women, not saying any of those different things, but what I'm saying is that men have to go out and find a responsibility. They have to find a weight in this world. That's the way I look at it. It's a weight that you're looking for. A weight in the world is what gives men responsibility. A weight in this world is what gives men responsibility. What does that mean? It means that it's my job as a man, if I want to find and live in this sweet spot of purpose, it's my job to actively go out and seek something, seek a weight in the world. And what am I seeking? I'm seeking something that is bigger than myself, right? Meaning that I have to be unselfish. I'm seeking something bigger than myself that serves others. I'm seeking something bigger than myself that serves others. Now, this can come in so many different forms. For a few years, I was a stay-at-home dad. I stayed at home for probably about 2 or 3 years as I was kind of transitioning and doing things. Guess what? That was my responsibility, being a man that was staying at home, taking care of his kids. I was seeking something that was bigger than me. I never bring children into this world, right? I had to learn how to take care of my kids, how to be there. I had to learn how to serve them in a bigger way than I knew really how to do. So that was my responsibility. That responsibility can come in so many other forms. It can come in the fact of you taking your talents, you taking your skills and actively seeking out others that are around you, that are in your community, that are in your state, that are in your country, whatever it is, that you can use that talent to serve other people. See, the service is really what we're after when it comes to living with purpose. The whole key to this is me being a man that is seeking out something that's bigger than myself, bigger than my own little bubble, right? And I'm seeking out something else that I can do that can serve others. This is why I was drawn to the military, right? I was drawn to the military because guess what? It was a responsibility. It was something bigger than me that was helping me to serve other people. When I became a pastor, and like I said, been pastoring nearly a decade, it was something bigger than me. I was given a responsibility to help people in a way that I couldn't really necessarily help them, but that God could. But I had to be the communicator for what God's truth wanted to be in other people's lives, that was serving other people. See, this thing right here, this whole key right here is the missing piece and the last piece of the puzzle to being a man that lives on purpose. This is where the sweet spot is at. This is what you're looking for with the sweet spot. When I have clarity in my life, meaning that I know who I want to be, how I want to show up in the world, when I have people around me that are going to hold me accountable and keep me in that sphere, keep me on track to those goals, whatever the case may be. And then when I search and say, you know what, I'm going to find something bigger than myself to serve other people. When all three of those are working in unity in my life, I'm in this sweet spot, man. I'm living with purpose. I'm living with purpose. And so if you're a man out there right now, and like I said, you feel stuck, you're kind of like, hey, I don't know where, how to do X, Y, and Z. I don't know, what I need to do or how I need to do X, Y, and Z. My bad. We didn't read it. If you're a man and you're saying, hey, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. I feel stuck. I feel like it's hard for me to get motivated. It's hard for me to keep moving. It's hard for me to get things done. I'm telling you, use this pillar of purpose. It's so simple. It looks very simple. It's very straightforward. But I'm telling you that when you get these three things going in your life, you get clarity, accountability, and your responsibility in life, you're going to be living in this sweet spot of purpose in your life. And this is what we're about. And once you get to that purpose, guess what? You're a man that's now living in power. And on top of that, you're a man now that's living in your God-given position, right? So I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. If you're a man, you're feeling stuck, guess what? This is going to get you unstuck. Drop a comment down below and tell me if you implemented some of this, you went through kind of the exercise, looked at some different things, identified these areas of your life, got clear, got figured out who is going to keep you accountable, and then selected a responsibility. And tell me how you feel. What happened in your life? I want to know, man, because like I said, when I was stuck, many seasons in my life when I've been stuck, I implemented these different things. I sat down, took an evaluation of my life, and then once I got clear on all those different things and put the pieces together, I felt like I was a man that was now living on purpose. As I mentioned down below, look, I'm going to put a guide in this, very simple guide. It's just going to ask you a few questions to kind of go through and just kind of help you get clearer on how to be a man in purpose. And then also too, down below, I'll put a link. Maybe you're a guy, you're trying to, get unstuck. You're facing some challenges. You're trying to figure out how to go through things, man. There's a link down there where you can book a free 15-minute call with me, man. We can get on the phone, maybe just kind of talk, see how we can help each other and see how we can help kind of just get you unstuck and move you forward in purpose. But until next time, this has been Nick with the Life Recreated channel. If you got value out of this, do me a favor, hit that like button, man. Share it with somebody, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, keep learning, keep healing, and keep growing. Peace.